Do sausages keep secrets?
Secrets.
Unfortunately, the makers of sausage do keep secrets. Okay.
Oh.
Yeah, I know. We're not going to talk about what's in the sausage, just to spoiler. But Hormel, maker of sausage, is suing Johnsonville, another maker of sausage, with claims that a former employee stole proprietary information, including recipes. Dun, dun,
Sausage
dun.
secrets.
Yes.
Okay.
I know. So basically, court documents are accusing a Johnsonville staff of a coordinated effort to interfere with Hormel's confidential, proprietary, and trade secret information when Johnsonville hired a Hormel employee who later worked to disseminate proprietary company materials. Now, that is all very legalese. Okay? So,
Okay.
basically, the lawsuit claims that Brett Sims, who was the former director of operations for Hormel, was hired by Johnsonville. He later solicited or basically tried to steal another Hormel employee. Okay. So back at his old location, he called up his buddy, and that buddy was then sharing information related to Hormel's product formulas, processing procedures, acquisition targets, and marketing strategies. And of course, this guy works at Johnsonville. That's probably not something they should be talking about. Okay.
Right.
Now, Sims is also accused of soliciting several other Hormel employees in management positions and trying to get them to resign and join Johnsonville. Sounds like some corporate espionage.
Yes, it does.
So, and then a director of operations for Hormel. Okay, as the director of operations, this guy oversaw and was extensively involved in the production of Hormel sausage products. And according to the lawsuit, this guy's name is Jeremy Hummel. Okay, so he's not the first guy, he's the second guy, the guy that was solicited from the first guy to come over to Johnsonville. Okay.
Right. Yeah.
And so, according to that lawsuit, he accepted a job offer to work with Johnsonville and then began to forward highly sensitive confidential information, proprietary and trade secret information to his personal email account. Okay. But Rummel allegedly did this before informing Hormel of his intent to resign.
Yeah, saw that coming.
Yeah. So then Hormel officials interviewed him and confronted him about the emails. Okay. And the lawsuit claims that Rummel initially denied emailing confidential information, but admitted it to when presented with evidence of the emails. Because, of course, once they show you proof, you kind of look stupid if you keep, saying the party line,
Right. Yeah.
Now, Hormel claims that after the interview, while Rummel was still their employee, he traveled to Sheboygan, Wisconsin, where Johnsonville is headquartered. Okay. He then allegedly spoke to Johnsonville's chief legal officer and its outside counsel. I mean, this is after he was confronted by Hormel.
Yeah.
And he went there to develop a plan to protect his new role at Johnsonville. Okay. This all looks pretty bad on paper.
I mean, he burned one bridge. He's like, gotta protect the other one. Just everything's on fire. Okay.
Now, to give you kind of a better timeline, if you will, because I know that was a little confusing. Okay. So the first guy, his name is Sims. He started working for Hormel in 1991.
Okay.
Then the second guy, Hormel, he starts working for Hormel Foods in 2000. So 9 years later. But obviously, once he started working there, they both somehow interacted. Okay.
Yeah.
In 2019, Rummel, the second guy, signs a non-compete, non-solicitation contract with Hormel Foods. So not just like an NDA, like a you ain't doing nothing kind of A.
Okay? Stay out of sausage business, bro.
Yeah. Now, a couple days later, the first guy, Sims, also signs a non-compete, non-solicitation contract with Hormel. So Just the fact that we know that both of these fellows signed these. And usually this is grounds for employment. Like if you don't sign these, you can no longer be employed. Okay.
Right.
So that's all happened in December 2019. Fast
Yep.
forward to June of 2023, and Sims, the first guy, he accepts the position of Chief Supply Chain Officer with Johnsonville. In April 2025, so just a couple months ago, second guy, Hummel, accepts the new employment job at Johnsonville, but doesn't tell Hormel about it. Okay.
Right.
So this is in April. May 21st is when Hormel discovers that he sent all this information to his personal email account. May 22nd, the next day. So they figure out he sent these emails. The next day, they are pulling him in to do this interview. Why the heck are you sending yourself, these personal emails? Da, da, da. Okay. And that's when he also admitted that the first guy, Sims, had been soliciting him for employment with Johnsonville since 2023.
Ew,
okay.
God.
Because remember,
Okay.
that is when the first guy went to Johnsonville. So basically, since the moment he got at Johnsonville, he was trying to poach employees. Okay.
That's gross. Okay.
Gets a little weirder because, so the second guy tells Hormel that a forensic collection kit for his cell phone can be sent to an address in Sheboygan, Wisconsin. Wait a minute. That's where Johnsonville is. Okay. And in fact,
Right.
lawyers for Hormel pointed out that the address he gave is the home of the first guy. So obviously he hadn't moved there. He hadn't fully done the job, but he was going to say, hey, I'll comply. Send me the forensic collection kit to this address. Just happens to be the guy. You know what I mean? It's like, is that just stupidity at that point? So, and it's right outside. It's right near where Johnsonville's corporate headquarters is located. And that should have been their first tip off. You know what I mean? Like, they may not have known where the information was going. They just knew that he was sending himself proprietary information. They may not have realized where it was going until the address they gave just happened to be right outside of Johnsonville headquarters.
Yeah, that'll do it.
So not shocking. 3 days later, Hormel terminates the second guy for cause due to breach of Hormel's Code of Ethical Business Conduct. Yeah, that one's not a shocker. I wonder, though, if he is now employed by Johnsonville.
That's a good question.
Okay. Now, here's where it gets even a little more weird, if it wasn't weird enough. I know, you're already like sausage secrets. It's already weird. Okay.
Secrets. Okay.
So following the second guy's termination, the dum-dum who sent himself emails, Hormel states it sent a letter to Johnsonville's chief corporate development and legal officer detailing the unlawful behavior of its employee and asked for a number of assurances from Johnsonville. Which, first off, the fact that they were like, hey, we have an employee, we think he's, trying to either give you or sell you secrets, because they may not have known about the job offer. I mean, they kind of figured that part out, but I feel like they were kind of solid here, saying, hey, former employee, we just fired him. Can you just give us some assurances that this is not what's going on? Okay. The lawsuit states that Johnsonville refused to provide those assurances. So that either means they were afraid to give assurances because they couldn't. You know what I mean? Like, that's...
Yeah.
So, ooh.
Yeah. It's a little icky.
It's very icky. And then Hormel is now hoping for a judgment that will reward it damages from the breached agreements with its former employees, as well as a requirement that all disclosed trade secret information be retrieved, returned, or destroyed. But that's like, once you've read a letter, you can't unread it.
Right.
You know what I mean?
And that's the crazy part. Like, okay, is your product not good enough that you're having to steal formulas from other companies?
Well, my question is, so the first guy, Sims, okay?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
He signed a non-disclosure in 2019. 4 years later, he obviously quits. Now, he may not have told them, hey, I'm quitting to go work for Johnsonville. But did nobody follow up where their employees go? If they're so keen on having them sign all these non-compete, non-solicitation contracts, and
Yeah.
normally they have a time frame. And 4 years does not quite seem long enough to, comply, because normally they're like 5 years or 10 years. They're not like 4. You know what
I've
I
seen
mean?
them. I've seen 2. I've seen as long as 2. But
Yeah.
that sausages is highly specific, right? I've
But it doesn't
seen
say like he quit in 2020
sausaged up.
and then started in 2023. It kind of implies that he quit and immediately started working at Johnsonville.
Right. Yeah. And that's what I'm thinking. So like there's times where they have where you've signed a non-compete, but like it's almost difficult or impossible to keep someone from working for a competitor in some instances, right? But I'm thinking like sausage, and we're talking about companies within like a certain city, whereas Hormel is based in Minnesota. You have to change states.
That's
That's
what I was
a
just thinking, is because in some cases those non-competes can only be legal within state lines.
right.
So, depending on non-compete laws in Minnesota, as soon as they cross the state line,
Yeah.
non-compete no longer applies.
Yeah.
But it's not like all the sausage companies are all located within one state. So,
No.
if you're a multinational corporation, you would think, you would have a little bit more ironcladness in your non-competes,
And
or
maybe
at
they
least
do,
some follow-up.
but maybe they do. Maybe they do have legal ramifications that they can apply because of this non-compete. Because it's not like they went to work for some another logistics position in a different factory type. We're talking about going from a sausage maker, a national, like multi-international sausage making company, to another
It's
large,
not like
massive sausage
you're
maker.
going from like supply chain to logistics where you're not
Hmm.
going to use maybe the same exact information. Like this
Right.
appears to be keeping with, they were staying within the marketing, the processing, the making, you know what I mean? So I don't even think you can say, well, I was a completely different department. The info didn't transfer over. And then the fact that he can show where he was reaching back out to former colleagues at Hormel. So this is pretty big. But
Yeah.
the lawsuit does appear that they're going after both of these guys, Brett Sims and Jeremy Rummel. And I
Yeah.
think the reason for that is because even though Jeremy Rummel's the one who they kind of caught red handed and they kind of caught Brett, at the end there, but it's like, ugh. Yeah. So let us know down below. How much do you think sausage secrets are worth? Is it even possible that Hormel has a secret that Johnsonville doesn't know? I
Yeah.
mean, maybe. But then again, what is it? KFC has like 11 signature secret spices or whatever, and people have been trying to figure it out for years. So it could be something as simple as a spice blend that could be
Yeah.
proprietary. So let us know down below, what are your thoughts on here? What do you think? It didn't really state what they seem to be going more for money. So this appears to be more civil, not criminal. So we'll see how this one plays out. Let us know your thoughts down below.